Hello everybody and welcome back to Robert's Reviews. Today is Friday, so we're continuing to do new releases. This is the last new release of the week. I don't know what I'm watching next week, but I know I'll be watching Reminiscence. That's about all that I know for sure. But definitely join the Facebook group, link in the doobly-doo below, because I'm going to be posting on Facebook to let you know what my plan is for next week, basically every week. So definitely check that out. I want to apologize for my appearance. I look gross and tired and sweaty. I've been in the movie theater all day, and it is extremely hot in my bedroom, so I apologize that I may not look up to par. But without further ado, let's talk about the last new release of the day, which is Don't Breathe 2. Don't Breathe 2 was released in 2021. It was written by Rodo Sayegüez and Fede Alvarez, and directed by Rodo Sayegüez. I don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize if I pronounce it wrong. Have an easier name. All these names of directors are so hard to say. None of them are easy. Yet Steven Spielberg, great, easy. We've got Sean Penn, and it's super easy. And then they have this, and I'm brrr. But whatever. Regardless, moving on. No spoilers for the most part. There might be one or two minor things, but honestly, it's a horror slasher film. It's pretty common. So slight spoiler warning, I guess, if you really don't want things to be told about it, but it really won't be a whole lot. But the general idea is we pick up from the old man from the first film, which I did review on the channel. Definitely check that out. It's in my movie review playlist. We pick up from him at a certain time later. We don't really know when, because we open with this shot. Okay, I'm going to talk about the opening shot for a minute or two, because it bugs me. This open road, and there's a CGI girl who falls down. And it is so... Alright, there's two options. Either it was done on a green screen, and it was composited poorly, which I don't think is the likely option. I think they just recreated this entire thing in CGI, and it looked like absolute garbage. I don't know why they decided, that looks good, start it. That's how we're going to start the film. Honestly, we could have just not. Started the film with that. There are other scenes that would have been a better first start of the film, or just don't start with, just cut that scene out of the film. It looked so bad, and I'm wow, that was really bad, which, coming from me, doesn't, I literally was just okay, I'm gonna watch a movie, and was barely paying attention because it just started. We literally went out of the logos, and then the CGI girl fell down. I was oh my god, that's how we're starting the film? Yikes. And that's basically how it continued for the whole film. Alright, we pick up with the old man, and the old man has basically taken this young girl who was orphaned in a fire. And he takes her in as his own, because as from the first movie, he's I really want a daughter. That's all I care about in life is having a daughter. Which, fine, whatever, I guess. I get that it's a cool character trait, but also, to a certain extent, wouldn't you have given up by now? And do you have to, take someone else's daughter? Don't you get how that feels to them? Whatever. We're not going to get into that part. But the general problem that I have with the film is that none of the characters are that interesting. I the blind man and the child were kind of cool, because the child is oh, I really would like to go to school and have friends, I'm lonely, all good stuff that I think was good for the character. The actress was great. Her name was Madeline Grace. Good for you. Fantastic job, well done. And the old man, who's played by Stephen Lang, he's also very cool because he knows that he wants his daughter, but he also wants to take it easy. He doesn't want her to get hurt, again, because of his other daughter dying, and then of course his unborn daughter dying in the first one. All that problems, which leads him to being overprotective as a parent, which I thought was kind of cool. And then they bring in a bunch of just super generic GTA 5 looking pieces of garbage villains who were we're gonna take the girl, and the first probably half an hour of the film where they are ravaging this guy's house, it's just blatant murder and blatant attacks and dumb parts of films that don't make any sense until we finally figure out what they're doing. Because the problem with this film, that in comparison to the first one, is in the first one we cared about the people breaking in, and we cared about the old man. We didn't care about either of them, and we also cared about both of them. In this one, I don't really care about either of them. I don't care at all. I'm the old man dies, fine. If the other people die, no skin off my back. I don't care. Because we already know the old man's an awful person. The child we barely know, and we're already she's probably gonna be fine. And the people that are breaking in, we know absolutely nothing about. So it's so hard to like get on a side, which was good for the first movie because it worked in terms of the storytelling. But in this one, we needed to be on a side. We absolutely needed to be on a side for this one. And it did not work. Like, I think if they were trying to get us on the old man side, it did not work at all. But we find out that, like, the person that is kidnapping her, the child, has a relation to her and basically is trying to take her. And there's this big twist that I'm not going to talk about. And the twist was very, very well done. I appreciated the twist a lot. I think it was actually the highlight of the film was the twist. Then it went downhill because there's this fire, and then they're trying to kill the girl, they're trying to get this done, and none of it makes sense. And then there's this really awesome fight at the end of the film that was kind of cool, and then turned into bullcrap real fast. And I can't talk a lot about it because I don't want to spoil it. But I want to talk about some of the fight from the beginning because it really does reminisce on what happens in the end. And really, it's just stupid. Like, all of the fighting is stupid. There's this part where the old man glues this guy's mouth and nose closed, which I was like, ooh, cool, finally. It was like the first big thing that happened. And the glued guy's friend is like, open your jaw. And I'm like, okay, cool. He wants to spread the lips a little bit so he can cut the glue so he can breathe. Right? That's what you would do, right? That's what I would do if my friend was laying on my bed and had glue on his mouth and his nose. I would take a pen, any object at all, and I would click it, and I would go, and I would just kind of rip a little hole in the glue. It's that easy. No harm done. This guy, he takes a screwdriver or something, and he's like, open your jaw. Opens the jaw, and he just goes, pop! And like, puts a hole in his freaking cheek so he can breathe. And I'm like, you did not at all have to do that in any way, shape, or form. You could have poked a hole in his nose, which would have been the same thing that he did through the cheek. Flesh is harder to get through than that glue. What were you thinking? I don't know. I can't. And the glue wouldn't have dried. The glue was on there for like 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Two minutes. What? Like, I'm so upset right now. And I was upset about it at first, too. I literally looked at Cody, my friend, because we were watching the film together, and I was just like, and he was like, yeah. And I'm like, no, do you not understand how stupid this is? And like, we talked about the film, and he's like, oh, yeah, you're right. And I was like, it's so stupid. And that's not the only thing. There are so many things that happen in the movie that just, like, didn't have to happen at all. Like, there's this live wire dangling over this giant pit of water that the child's in, and no one thought to, like, there was plenty of space for her to just grab the wire and move it a little bit. Like, and yeah, they're like, oh, well, it's wet. Yes, but you don't have to touch the part that's dangling. You could have gone on the other side of the grate and pulled it just a little bit, and you would have been fine. And that's the whole film. The whole film is just aggravating stupidness. And then at the end, there's this part, and like, it's kind of spoilery, but like also not, where like the old man gouges this guy's eyeballs out. And like 2-3 minutes later, he gets up, probably within full range of the child seeing, and doesn't warn anybody. And he just like has his eyes gouged out, and he's like, oh, yep, we're fine. And then he goes to kill the other dude, and I'm like, dude, you would not be standing. If your eyes got gouged out, you would be bleeding profusely. You would not be able to see. You'd be very disoriented. You'd probably have a headache, and you wouldn't have known where the old man was. It bothered me to no end. And that's the whole film. The whole film was me laughing at stupid parts, laughing at the fact that every villain in the film is just a crappy GTA 5 character. And, like, I had no connection to any characters. There were only a few redeeming parts. Like, I like the twist, and the set pieces were gorgeous. I think the bathroom, the pool scene at the end was so cool in terms of, like, where it was located. Super cool. Again, the twist, which I did not talk about because I can't, is super cool. I really appreciate it. That's the only reason why this movie is, like, actually kind of redeemable. But the rest of the film is just hot garbage, in my opinion, especially in comparison to the first one. So I'm going to have to go ahead and give Don't Breathe 2 a D+. Let me know if you've seen the movie. Have you seen it? Do you want to see it? If you haven't, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought. I couldn't wrap my head around the film in terms of being good. It's not. If you like it, fine. You're welcome to like it. There are people who are going to like it because it's just a regular Thrasher film, regular thriller Thrasher, and like, it's fine. I can see how people can like that, but like, as a person who likes story and actually good characters, this film was just hot garbage for me. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please consider subscribing because it's a huge, huge, huge help. We're really moving along. We really are. The past couple months have been extraordinary. I've been able to upgrade my setup, all because of you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching my videos. So please consider liking, subscribing, sharing with friends, and as always, keep watching movies and television, stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.